All right, what's up, Crypto Paradise fam? It's Ian and Nick. We're back with another video. We've been talking a lot on the channel on how to spot your next 100x opportunity. Been doing some short form content on that. Thought we would sit down and share with you our insights on a bit of a longer form content here. So what are some of the things we like to look at? Off the top of my head, we like to look at team, token utility, product market fit, value, low cap valuation, all these things. So and many more than that as well, right? And even if you have all those things, hitting an 100x is not an easy feat and quite rare. But that said, there are factors one can look at. So Nick, what are your initial thoughts? Like, what are some of the factors you look at? What's like the top maybe one or two to get us started here?
Well, I think the easiest thing for a person that's been in the space a long time or a brand new person is just to kind of look at what is in the hype cycle, what is the narrative currently. Now, this isn't going to give you the long-term fundamental plays and the long-term 100x's, but this could get you in the right direction, in the right sectors, to where it might be easier to find a low-cap gem. In March, 2 months ago, everybody was talking about DePIN and AI, and you had NVIDIA with all these big earnings, and the stock was flying through the moon. So really, it made it a lot easier if you just focused on the DePIN and the AI sector to find some entries. Now, some of them just pumped and they dumped out because there's nothing to it, but some of those are going to be long-standing investments. So I think that number one for me is just look for the sector that is being hyped up. The narrative is driven there, and everybody is talking about it. And that's where you should start to kind of narrow things down. This market has 10,000 projects, new projects launched every day, so you got to start down by narrowing to a specific sector.
Yeah, that's a super good point. Narrative is so key, and that may not be something that sort of a newer person or even experienced person may not realize that how important that really is. And on the flip side of that as well, it's very difficult, I would say, to find any opportunities in a hype cycle that previously happened, right? Like I remember 2-3 years ago, Polkadot based projects, and they weren't even built on Polkadot, but anything with the word Polkadot, Polka this, Polka starter, Polka house, Polka this, Polka, that was the hot thing. That's not hot right now, so you wouldn't want to find a put all your chips behind a project that's Polka something. So it's crypto is extremely narrative driven. The good news is I think there's normally more than one hot sector at any given time. Normally there's a handful. I think AI is one that's doing pretty well right now. We're in a bearish period of the bear market, right? Bull market, excuse me, right now. But even so, AI has been holding up, and I think it's gonna continue to do well, as that's a narrative that has legs. DePIN's another good example. I think RWA, real world assets, that's not going anywhere. Memes is another one that you can sort of laugh at, but there's still a lot of opportunity there, a lot of risk, of course. And we'll see other narratives come, I think, as this cycle continues. But that's extremely important.
And I think if you're looking for something now, the 4 narratives that you just named would be the 4 narratives that I would name as well. RWA, AI, DePIN, and meme coins. Narrow it down to those sectors, see what you like, and kind of spread your money out in those 4 sectors. You'll probably do all right. Now, if you can front run a narrative, that is a high level, and hopefully we can provide some of that alpha and try to get you in a narrative that isn't hot yet, because then you're getting at super low valuations, and that's when upside can be tremendous. But like I said, that is harder, and when you're trying to front run a narrative, you're looking for fundamental projects that have good token utility, or maybe they're paying you passive income, or they're doing buybacks and burns. And that way, even if that narrative doesn't become the hot trend, it still has upside potential. It's still paying you some passive income, and you'll still do all right on that play.
One other narrative I'd add to that list is BTC-Fi. Anything sort of in the Bitcoin DeFi sector, BTC-Fi is going to do really well. Is already doing well with like runes just having come out and other innovations happening over there. So yeah, I think those are probably good ones to look at these days, and we'll see as the bull market continues, trends pop.
Yeah, that Bitcoin trend I think might be a front-running narrative. Yes, ordinals popped off and BRC had the minor blip, but really the tooling and the protocol level stuff for Bitcoin Fi and runes isn't really out yet, and it isn't in the mainstream. We're not seeing massive TVL going over there, so that really could be front-running the narrative for this next cycle. We just had the Bitcoin halving. You got MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor talking about Bitcoin and Bitcoin only, trying to build Bitcoin products. And then you're starting to see projects launching on BRC20 ordinals and rooms. So I think that could be the opportunity for front running. Are there any projects in that sector or tooling in that sector that you have your eyes on as a potential gem?
Yeah, there's a lot of development happening over there, and I think you do need some of the underlying infrastructure so it's easy for investors, either retail or more sophisticated investors, to get their dip their feet in there. Ferrum Network is building really awesome products and infra in terms of BTC-Fi, essentially allowing you to swap assets in and out of that ecosystem back over to EVM, which to me is the biggest sort of hurdle over there. It's very difficult to get assets in and out. So a project like Ferrum Network building infra over there, and there's many others. In fact, I was on a call with ones earlier. I believe it was called RunesFi. I don't know how serious it was, but they're also building infra over there. There's a lot of innovation happening over there. So that could be a good sort of quote front run opportunity where the hype maybe not completely there yet because it's a little bit hard to access that sector, from just purely like acquiring tokens on Runes, for example. But that is coming as the infra gets built out.
Yep, and I would add to that, Runes Terminal hasn't launched yet. That is something that, full disclosure, we invested in with TDI in a pre-sale. Another one that we did really well on and that I still think has a lot of upside is Orange Crypto. This is a pre-sale that we got in at 4 cents. It's currently around 18 or 20 cents. And, they're building like a wallet app and a bunch of different infrastructure products. I think the infrastructure products could really be the runners for that ecosystem, just because, like you said, it's just all about onboarding. It's super hard to get over there and use it. So these infrastructure products have a good leg, a good advantage, because all the new people come to the ecosystem, if they're using their product, probably buy their token, need the token, whatever it may be. So that might be the first asset that they own within that ecosystem.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for bringing that up. It is all about sort of foreseeing what's coming down the pike, so to speak, in terms of a narrative. And I think BTC-Fi is going to be huge this cycle, especially as Bitcoin continues to pick up steam throughout the latter half of this year. All right, so narrative is key. Another thing that I look at, I think it's absolutely critical, frankly, like, is the market cap and the fully diluted valuation that you're actually buying in at. There gets to be a point when a project gets so enormous that, yes, the risk is probably lower because it probably has a huge community and a legit token utility and a lot of infrastructure or products, whatever. So it's not going to dump to zero. But it's very hard when you're already at $1 billion market cap to do 100x. It's impossible, frankly, right? And so you want to, if you're looking for these 100x gems, it's going to be in the low cap sectors, or excuse me, low cap variety. Particularly, I think, I've only ever had those kind of opportunities in my time in crypto via pre-sales, via investing in seed round or whatever. So Nick, talk to me a little bit about the importance of the market cap, and then we can talk about pre-sales as well.
Yeah, some people will say, oh, market cap doesn't matter. It's all Fugazi anyways. But like you said, once you get, BNB, for example, BNB is not going to give you 100x again. Maybe a 5x, maybe a 10x if Bitcoin goes to $1 million. I don't know. So you need lower market capitalizations for a couple of reasons. A, it's a mental barrier for people to understand the upside potential. But B, if it has a smaller market cap, that means it has thinner liquidity. That means it has less holders. So you need less amount of money to push that valuation higher. So that means you only need to onboard 100 people for it to do a 2 or a 3x, versus at $1 billion market cap, you probably need to onboard 10,000 people in order to do a 2x or a 3x. So that's why market capitalization matters. Not for the, Fugazi, stocks use, P&E, and that's why the market capitalization is what it is. In crypto, it's more of an indicative of how much liquidity is needed to really push that price higher or reach milestones of being a top 100, top 200, top 300 asset. If you're already a top 10 asset right now, I'm telling you guys, I love BNB. You can earn passive income with it, whatever it is. But best case scenario, BNB maybe has a 10x left in it. That is like over the moon. Bitcoin's got to be $250,000. Realistically, BNB might get us a 3 to 5x. So if you're looking for life-changing gains, you got to take a little more risk. You got to get into lower caps, whether it's 5 million, 1 million, $10 million market valuations, or potentially pre-sales like Ian hinted at. And maybe you want to start with that, and then we'll kind of talk about a recent pre-sale launch that's had pretty good success, and we had here on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, something we say on this show is financial advice. These are just our opinions and our experiences that we're just conveying to you guys for educational purposes. But I agree, it's, these big caps, there's a place for them. Like in my portfolio, I'm glad I'm holding some ETH, some Bitcoin, BNB, and a few other majors. But I don't hold them for that massive upside. You kind of hold them for, maybe passive income coming in, staking ETH, staking BNB, for example. I hodl Bitcoin just because I think it's going to be at, $1 million one day, and I can gift it to my kids when they're older. But it's not, it's not to get rich quick. That's just not how it is with these big ones. To find those opportunities, you're going to take, like you said, you take a little bit more risk. Pre-sales is the place that I always found the most opportunity, and frankly, the most risk as well, right? And what we mean by that is finding those projects which are raising funds, and in the process of raising funds, their token is not yet launched, and you invest them maybe through a launchpad, maybe through an entity or a community like the Decentralized Incubator, maybe through a syndicate, or maybe you're a part of a VC, whatever the case may be. You're investing before the token is actually launched, and so that is highly risky in the sense that, hey, you've sent them funds essentially. VC sends them funds, and they're essentially trusting that project. Obviously, there's contracts in place and so on to eventually launch the token. The benefit of it is that you're normally getting in an evaluation that's extremely low, because the project needs to bring in capital, right? And so they're willing to make those big concessions and say, hey, if you give us money now to build and ultimately launch our token, we're willing to give you this token at a 1 million fully diluted valuation, 2 million, 5 million. Whereas by the time it launches, listed on exchanges, is probably sitting at a 20, 40, 50, 100 million valuation. So harder to get that huge upside once it's already out. So it's before the project already launched, you're investing high risk, high reward. Like you said, one project we want to spotlight real quick because it just launched yesterday, Tuesday, May 7th. It's called ARCX. We had them on the show. The founder, Ivan, great guy. It did pretty well thus far. Obviously, market is a little choppy right now overall. So just not a lot of interest for new projects as relative to 2-3 months ago. But I think this one has a long-term potential. Nick, how did it perform thus far? I haven't looked at the chart in a minute.
Yeah, so the pre-sale people. So if you're with us and if you know who me and Ian are and you're part of TDI, you're up somewhere between 3 to 5.5x already, with the price up about 61% from launch. So if you're not with us, you missed the pre-sale, but you watched Crypto Paradise, you saw Ivan and you liked it. It launched at 0.007. It's currently at 1.2 cents. So you're up about 61% already. Now, this isn't, sometimes these pre-sales and the super hype, they go 10x at launch, and people can make a lot of money that way. This one, maybe a 2x. But what I will say, it makes it a lot easier to make a pretty chart. And there's a lot of things coming for ARCX here. So they do have 2 marketing campaigns that are about to begin, and they're about to be underway. The application, by the time this video goes out, might be live on the iOS app and the Android app. They have 2 centralized exchanges coming over the course of the next month, and they have a 1-month cliff, meaning no pre-salers are getting any more tokens for the next month. So I still think this is a great opportunity on a small cap project valued at 550,000 market cap. It has a real world business where 10% of all sales are going to go towards token buybacks and token burns and staking rewards to produce passive income for you. I think this could be a 10x. It's only 5.5 million market cap. This could be a 100x. This is a real world business that will drive revenue to offset the next bear market. And of course, this isn't financial advice, but that is kind of a case study of why pre-sales can work. Being up 3 to 6x on a project that only did a 2x at public launch is a great opportunity, and you're going to be getting in at the first staking contracts as well, which have the highest APR, which means highest passive income rate as well. So I still think it's a great opportunity here at a 550,000 market cap with all that news coming this month. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, not financial advice, but we're bullish on it, as you guys know. I just think Ivan's great. The whole team over there. Their product is going to be out, by the way, when this video comes out, because the video is coming out on Thursday, which is when this video should come out. So their product is going to be out. There is a big difference, I think, between projects that launch with a product and ones that launch without. We've seen this firsthand many times, and I think this is another sort of factor one needs to look at if you're going to find your 100x opportunity. There's got to be, in most cases, I mean, there's obviously some exceptions. Memes are that obvious exception where you don't really need a product in some cases. But for the most part, not only are you going to need a product, but that product's going to need to have traction on it, meaning users. And there's going to be, then the token is going to have to be tied to that product in a meaningful way. And so ARC is a great example. The product drops tomorrow. You'll be able to order your jewelry using AI sort of infrastructure they built into it. You can share that on social media, make that go viral, wear your logo, wear your thing out to conferences. It's smart jewelry. You can scan it, pops on the phone. It's really cool technology. And of course, they've tied the token to it, as Nick mentioned. So I think another factor, very important, is the token utility and the product itself. A lot of times, again, projects launch, a lot of hype, maybe they get that instant 10x, but if there's nothing behind it, if there's no reason to hold the token, it's very hard to sustain that, because there's a new project popping up the next day, hundreds of new projects. People are going to be exiting from what they did well over here and exit to buy over here at lower. So got to have a product for the most part. Tell me, Nick, any project that you like these days that is a low cap but has a product out or coming very soon?
Well, first of all, to finish what you were saying, people do ask why token. That's a question we ask a lot when we get pitched pre-sale ideas, is why do we need the token? And in an ARCX situation, understand that there's AI rendering, and even Web 2 AI rendering has a fee associated with those AI renders. So having a Web3 AI product just means that instead of having some arbitrary reward token or fee associated with it, you're using this blockchain technology, using this crypto asset for that AI rendering. So there is a purpose of the token itself. Also, they wanted to do to where anybody can do these AI renders, but also get almost like an equity share in the business, meaning you hold the token, 10% of all buys go towards token buybacks, essentially kind of like a stock buyback that we see in traditional markets. So just touching base on that, there is a reason for a token, and that's also something to look at for a project. Do you need the token? If you don't need the token, usually the token doesn't do very well over the long term. As for a small cap project, I mean, it's small but getting bigger, and I'll just do this because we have a relationship with Floki and they launched TokenFi. So TokenFi is in the RWA sector. It's now valued around $35 million market cap. When we first talked about it, it was a $3 million market cap, so it is up 10x already. But essentially, they're launching products that all utilize the token. A, you can stake token to earn token, but B, now they have a launch pad, which ARCX and some other projects that we've talked about have raised through, in which you need to hold some token to get VIP access to the cheapest possible prices. And in the future, they're launching their RWA platform where anybody, Ian, could create a token. Our Crypto Paradise can create a token using the TokenFi platform, which costs a little bit of token as a gas fee for that token generation event. So that's an interesting one in the RWA sector we already talked about. It has a 30 million market cap, so maybe you don't get 100x out of it, but you do have the support of Floki, which is at a 500 million market cap, which gives you a little less risk for a great opportunity and great upside potential.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that one out. That's a great example of a project that's built a plethora of tech solutions, all requiring the token. To me, when I see something like that, I think to myself, well, we know there's going to be people that need to use this, so they need to buy it for various reasons. As long as that product is getting traction and has a real use case, you know that there's going to be demand for that token. It de-risks you to some degree, right? Obviously, it's still going to be volatile. It's still in the crypto sector. If Bitcoin dumps down 20%, it's also going to crash 30, 40% because it's an altcoin. But you have great reason to believe that it's not going to ever dump down to zero because there's inherent demand for that asset, right? That crypto asset. So we look very closely at token utility. Any project that comes and pitches us, we get pitched projects all the time. And we always ask them, hey, what's token utility? If there isn't a clear and convincing answer there, it's usually going to be a pass from us, honestly, because there's just too many opportunities, too many goals. You don't need to take a risk with one that's, frankly, has no token utility, very questionable, or something that's really, the token utility is so out there that's never really going to be achieved. I like clear, convincing. Another good example of one that I just stumbled upon that I thought was pretty cool. It's kind of within the meme sector in a sense, because what it is, it's a sniper bot product. So what it does is they build AI and different tools to buy into tokens as soon as they launch. They buy the token does well, they'll sell. So then what they're doing is then they're sharing the profits with the people who are holding that token. That one's called Aimbot, sitting at like a 3 million market cap right now. was as high as 20 million a few months ago during the meme coin craziness. But that's a great example of, hey, it's clear. Oh, hold the token, earn the, and then you claim your ETH rewards about every week or something when they process that. You know, so it's just easy to understand. Passive income, reason to hold the token. To me, I like stuff like that.
Yep.
Some people like are okay aiming for just the meme coin 100x arbitrary project. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, and it's good to have some exposure to that super high risk stuff. But you know, if you can find that gem that's a low cap but also has those fundamentals, that's the sweet spot in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we go after the token utility. We've passed on things because they didn't have inherent token utility and ended up doing really well. But with that, you have much higher risk, and for every winner you hear, there's plenty of losers or rug pulls or whatever it is. So just understand, we're not saying that if a project doesn't have inherent token utility, it can't do well, at least on the short term. But if you're looking to reduce that risk, like many of you are, the long-term potential to weather some storms, maybe be here for more than just one cycle, then you need some inherent token utility, you need user acquisition, and you need some kind of revenue to keep things going. Crypto space costs a lot of money. Marketing costs money. Liquidity costs money. Exchanges cost money. If you don't have a product that produces some kind of revenue, it's going to be very hard to survive, and or the team is just going to need to dump the token, which means it's getting dumped on your head, which none of us like to see.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Crypto space is expensive. You need people who understand that. So on that point, another factor that I always look at is the team. Who are the people behind that? Who's on the marketing side? Who are the devs? And it's not just, oh, do we like these people? Do we trust them? That's a part of it. But it's also how much experience do you have in this space? Because this is a very different space. This is like, even if you've had success in tech, Silicon Valley, Web 2 stuff, that has no bearing on whether you're going to do well in Web 3, because Web 3 is very unique. Just the psychology of the participants, right? Knowing who's trustworthy, who's not. I mean, you can very easily get ripped off in this space if you're new. You can, you know, take advice from somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, get sent down the wrong path and fail that way. You can approach the token project from the wrong mentality, not knowing the mentality of the token investor who's like, I need news now, I need updates now, you know, when moon now. You can't, you know, you have to have that you have to have that mentality. You have to have some experience, I think, in this space for the most part. I'm sure there's, again, exceptions. A project that launched, the team is fully novice and it did super well. But I think for the most part, you need to have a team that's experienced in this space. What do you think about that, Nick?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Or you need to have a team that's willing to swallow their egos and get advisors on board or partners on board who are more experienced in the space. So that is kind of a loophole around it. But we have seen that some teams just, you know, they kind of have an ego. Their product's so great, their coin's so great that they're not really looking to lean on advisors, or not really looking to lean on centralized exchanges or big names in the space, which I think is a failure. Because another thing with crypto, it's all about your networking ability. It's a small enough ecosystem that reputation gets spread out. If you do something sketchy, it's going to hurt your reputation within various circles. And if you have a big ego, then people don't really like talking to you or spending time with you because they don't see how they can fit in and win with you. This space is all about winning together because it is small enough to still do that. And the teams and founders that are willing to do that and swallow the pride and their ego a little bit to network and bring people on board are the ones who have that long-term success. Or if this first project has a hiccup, they have a chance to bounce back on a second idea or second product and make up for the first failure that they may or may not have had.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Having that lack of ego, willing to learn, willing to pivot, willing to acknowledge mistakes, do things differently. The connections thing is very important too, right? A lot of times you'll see projects, they're doing well simply because of connections in some case. Like, they're backed by so-and-so big name VC. They're going to get listed on such and such big exchange because they had a relationship over there. So that does come back to, I think, team in a set in sort of that the wide sense of the term. You know, did they have connections within the space to execute at a high level and get where they need to go? So that's another big part of it. So we talked about team, token utility, valuation, you know, low valuations. What are anything else that comes to mind, Nick, when thinking about, okay, how do we find this next gem?
We talked about narrative and sector too. So, I mean, for me, I think we've kind of talked about all the big things. We can get down the rabbit hole of the super degenerate stuff, like what on a beginner level to look for, but we kind of touched that on previous videos. But, you know, you want some locked liquidity. That way you can't get rugged. I mean, you hear about all these disasters. You put it, even if it's 100 or 1,000 bucks, but if a project rugs all the liquidity, you're gonna get $0 out of that. So lock liquidity. I like Doc's teams personally. I know there's some meme coins that don't have Doc's team, but if somebody puts a face on it, they're more than likely that the first speed bump that comes, they're not just going to hit the road and sell their tokens. So I guess those are two kind of minor things, very low level, that you can look at and see on Dex Tools or Dex Screener or Crypto Twitter and find answers to.
Yeah, the Docs team is a big one. I agree. All the those smart contract risks, like you said about the the lock liquidity and so on. That's important stuff to look at. Another thing I look at is community. How passionate is this community? I think that's actually extremely key. You look at a lot of these meme coins; they're doing well only because of the community's passion. And even with the utility token, if there's no real passionate community, it's very hard to find, that project has a much greater degree of risk and much less upside too, I think, because things start to go poorly and there's going to be speed bumps, like you say, in crypto. That's just how it goes. If there isn't that core group of believers who are there to like buy tokens when the price is dropping, or start, organically shilling the project on Twitter, making content and Telegram, blah, blah, it's going to be very hard to do well. So community is a huge one. Sometimes it's not easy to spot. What I've noticed is projects now are using tools to sort of fool people into thinking that there's a genuine community. Like there's these tools out there, Zeely, Galaxy, for example. Nothing wrong with these tools, but what they often do, projects often do, is incentivize people to chat within the Telegram or the Discord, and it's not organic. And to the uninitiated, you can actually be tricked pretty easily by that. So community's big, but there are some. It's kind of hard to know what's genuine or not sometimes. So we're happy to, if anyone has any concerns about, hey, I'm in this community, right, but I can't quite tell what's going on, we'll pop in there. We'll give you our honest feedback as to whether it's legit or not.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think we covered a lot today. I guess in the comment section below, if you want us to explain any of these methods in more depth, let us know. But also if we missed anything, if you think you have an edge on finding 100x gems and we didn't really cover that topic, let us know in the comment section. On top of that, if you comment, you like, you watch, you share this video, of course, you're entered to win the Crypto Paradise giveaway and the potential to stay in Tulum, Mexico for a free 2-night stay. So not only can you ask us questions that we'll answer, but that also is your free raffle ticket to monetary gains and potential vacation gains.
Vacation gains. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Nick. This was awesome. Can't wait to do it again. We'll see you guys tomorrow, and we will see you on the beach. Peace.